Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's May 10th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and really, it's just another slow, um, choppy, kind of rangy type day. There's a undertone of a uptrend here, and but really, we went sideways, had a leg up, and then we went sideways again. You can, and by the time the day was finished, this was just another little range across here. I moved it up. Originally, I had it right here because that's where the resistance was. But before it was over, you would have moved it up to here, and you just got another little sideways range, basically. So really, the only true movement we had was this move from the failed break lower, and that's why I'm always telling you that you got to try to catch these because they become important price levels, and that's an important low of the day. And if you caught that, you could turn a pretty good day into this. If you miss that, then you just don't get much opportunity. So keep that in mind. And I'm always talking about these failed breaks, how they turn out to be important. Um, Lows or highs, like here, you might have caught the high of the day. It could have turned down, and that's generally where you're going to catch it on a move like that. Um, Generally on these, you're almost always better off to wait on a lower high in this case, which you really didn't get a setup for that. Or high or low in this case, and you did get the higher low right here. And so keep that in mind. If you caught one of these, you probably had a pretty good day. If you didn't, there's not much happening here, and you probably got chopped up. You might have got uh, stuck in a trade or whatever. I mean, if you got stuck long anywhere in here, which would have been your option, hopefully you would have got out of it here. And if you got stuck short in here, anywhere in here, you still would have probably got out of it, but you would have had to sit all this out. Um, and then, of course, you get another little failed break lower right here, and another opportunity to hopefully maybe catch another low point. Um, and you do, it doesn't. You don't get the move you got out of this one, because really by the time you get up here, you've already had your two measured moves for the day. So I would measure this first move, leg one, second move. So you can see we got right in there and kind of found a lot of resistance. We pushed a little bit higher before the day was over, but not much. So um, that's what I would have been looking for. But let's talk about the trades real quick and we'll wrap it up. And I'm trying to get this done a little earlier today than I've been late lately, but I've had a bunch of other things going on. So I've been late in the evening before I could get back to doing a chart lesson. But um, early on, it looked like a range. You can see this. Here's your overnight high, your overnight low. And we're just in here right in the middle of that. But we just came off the low when I'd come in. We'd come off the low earlier in the overnight session. And we had our first break here. I liked this one simply because notice your new low here, first entry, second entry. There's two legs up, a failed second entry short. So I like that one just to hopefully catch a scalp on a move back to a new high. And guess what? It went one tick to a new high, which was just enough to get you out, and then it just went sideways. You had a failed break lower here, but that bar is too bearish. I wouldn't trust going long above that one. And then when you finally get a bullish bar that you need, it's too close to the highs. You definitely don't want to be going long into those highs right there. And we push up and we get a little failed break higher. This bar is too bullish again to really go short there. But let me explain why I marked this one in green. And even on this entry, your safety stop would still have to go above this high. That's the only safe place to put it. You putting it above this bar is not a safe spot. It worked in this case, but it wouldn't have been a safe spot. So let me explain this trade, why I like it. What it is it's a failed breakout, and then it comes back and it pulls back up and tests the support resistance area and then goes lower. I would have liked it better if this bar would have broke higher first and then turned down, but this is still very similar to a lower high, and you got a lot of room back to the trend line, back to the lower support area. It's obvious this is a trading range, so you can treat that like a failed break. The only thing that is a little bit negative about it is right into the EMA, but we're not really trending here. This is more sideways stuff. It's more of a range, even though there's this undertone. We don't really have enough information to know that this channel is going to continue. It could have just turned down here and gone the other way, because it looks too much like a range day. So you're playing this as a range. And when it went on through here, I really thought we'd go lower, but you get a little trap right here. Notice that it pushes down. You definitely want to be going short right there into that low. And so by just being patient, you get a little trap here. And I like going long here on this higher low, expecting it to come back to test the EMA, but maybe to come back and test this high here. And in the end, it just keeps on going. So that's it's a great place to be in, because you can easily be scalped out of this and even tighten your stop up and still have a runner going. And so even if you got stopped, even if it does come back down here and stop you out, you still make a little bit off your runners too. So that's the best of both worlds. But notice what happens. You get that failed break lower here. So I liked entering that one, because at this point, when it went higher there on that reversal type pattern, I really thought we'd go higher at that point. I was surprised that we turned down as quickly as we did. We still found a little resistance, but I really thought we were going to move on higher, which we did, but it took a few. They really had to back up and get a little run and start a couple of times before they finally pushed through. And really, somebody asked me about a very similar trade yesterday. And what you have to understand on an entry like what's happening here is there's been strong resistance across here. So a lot of new traders come back in selling at this level every time prices come back to it. And so it just kind of keeps piling up, and there's a little bit of equilibrium. So what they'll do is they'll load up a bunch of shorts here, making them think it's going short, and then they'll start buying and break it higher. They'll do enough buying to push it higher, and then automatically the other traders exit, and the momentum of them exiting, realizing they got trapped, is what runs it up. And so that's a good clue when it turned down here that we might go higher, but we haven't been able to get through that area all day, so that's a little risky. I think you're better off probably to skip that trade, and hopefully you're in down here and you've already got a runner or something maybe going there and you can hang on to it. But there's enough reasons to like this. Notice that you made a low there and it came back, and it's a double test of it. So that's 3 tests of that level. And we've already pushed above this level once. So if we get through there again, we may go higher this time. And so you may want to risk that. And it actually went lower first and turned and went out the other side. But I'd probably wait for that bar to close and wait on a break above it, and before I went long there. And so there was a very similar trade yesterday, and somebody asked me about it. And this is a very similar type deal. The only entry here is to the long side if you're going to enter. I'm definitely not going to enter short right in there, even though it looks tempting because it looks like a range. But we just had a failed break lower, so we're probably going to get a failed break higher. Generally what will happen here is it'll fail out one side and trap everybody, and then it'll fail out the other side. But the side it fails out the first time usually is not going to be the one that continues on. It's going to be one of the, and it may do this multiple times before it actually moves on. So, but after failing out here and then here, my guess is we're probably going to push through the other side, even if it's only temporary. And if we get through there, I'm going to look for that measured move. And so that would have kept you in this trade all the way to here at a minimum. And we did go a little bit higher, but you're not going to get all of every move. It's not, you can't do it. So if you get most of a move, you're doing pretty good. So anyway, we do push up, and there's a trend line here. Really, this is where the uptrend started, so you want to get that short-term one in there at a very minimum. I don't have it on here, but it's there. And that's the beauty of this. Once you look at these charts all day, every day, and you get used to, you get experience drawing these, I can look at it and see them. I mean, just in a blink. And I don't really have to draw them, although I do draw them because I want to show them later in most cases. But a lot of times I may not even have it on my chart. So, but we get the break here, and you might have been tempted to go long here. And if you did, if you hung on, it still would have worked out. Notice prices could never get below there. But I don't like entering there, even though it's a second entry long. It's just too close to the high, and we've already had a measured move up and all that good stuff. So I just think you want to, this is one of those areas where you just stay out of this and you wait and see if you get some kind of failed break. And you finally get one here. You really want to wait on a lower high or something a little more bearish than that. I mean, that's a fairly bearish bar. Don't get me wrong, and we are a little bit away from the EMA, but I still think that's going to be a green one in this case because we're working up, and there's a chance that we may go higher. So waiting on a lower high, which you get one here, but now you're right back in the middle of the range. There's not much distance between here and here. So again, it just kind of goes sideways. And again, you just want to kind of probably stay out of that and see if you get a failed break. And lo and behold, you get another failed break lower. So this turns out to almost be a repeat pattern, just like over here. Nice reversal bar. Go long right there. You got room back up to those highs. And that was the other thing. This was down here when this broke up, and so it might come back right there, and you see it did come back right there and try to go higher, and it ends up just still going sideways. So that was another piece of that I failed to talk about. But then you get this failed break lower, another quick easy scalp, and that's all you can get out of it. So really not a, even though you got some movement today, there's just not a lot of good trades. Again, not a lot of safe, high probability type trades. And we get periods like this, and then the market will take off again, and this will seem. One good thing I like about these type periods is they're good learning periods because you don't get a lot of huge moves. So when you're and there's a lot of choppiness, so you don't, when you're wrong while you're learning, you don't lose a lot of money. You don't get hung up in these huge moves, and it goes real quick and fast, and it gives you a chance to watch price action and learn without a lot of risk and no slippage. So these kind of time periods are good, and plus, if you get to where you can read it and understand it when it's choppy and tight like this, when you do get some really good movement, it feels like you feel like you're taking candy from a baby. I mean, really, it's so much easier. And so these are good. These type areas are good for learning. So as boring as it is for a lot of us, if you're still in the learning phase, it's a good learning and a good opportunity for you to get some good price action experience. So keep that in mind. I'm done for the day. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to get out of here at 5 today. So be nice for a change for me. But this is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And we'll see you next time.